Good evening. I will call the March 15th, 2018 meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals to order. First, I'd like to ask the public to please silence your cell phones. I'll go ahead and introduce the board. To my right is Jerry Pertamas. He is an associate member of the board. My name is Terrence Hurry. I am the vice chairman of the board, and I will be the acting chairman tonight. To my left is Ed Van Kuren. He is full member of the board, and tonight he will be the acting clerk. To his left, we have Paul Murphy, who is a full voting member of the board, followed by Bob Dugan, who is an associate member of the board. With us tonight is also Sari Boudreau, who is the zoning administrator, and Megan Pittity, who is the recording secretary. The Zoning Board of Appeals is charged with applying the zoning bylaws for the town and considering requests for special permits, variances, and appeals as provided in the bylaws which have been approved by town meeting and the Attorney General's office for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. All decisions made by the board are made through the public hearing process. Our goal is to hear testimony from the applicants and the public and to allow full and fair discussion of the project prior to rendering a decision. To begin each hearing, the clerk will read the public announcement of the hearing and will present any pertinent information from the file, such as referrals from town departments and summarizing correspondences to the board. The applicant or the applicant's representative will then have 15 minutes to make a presentation, and then if any extra time is necessary, it may be extended by vote of the board. The board will then ask questions to the applicant, and then we will invite the public to make any comments. Public comment should be directed only at the project, and I also ask to please refrain from making any personal or derogatory statements. Public comment can also include opinion in favor or in opposition, or it could just simply be a question that you have about the project. The chair will limit the discussion. We usually hold discussion to our questions from the public to 2 minutes, and we may limit discussion further if any comments become repetitive. All members of the public wishing to speak should wait to be recognized by the chair and should come to the podium to the right. Please state your name and address for the record. After that, the board will either close or continue the hearing if we're satisfied that we've received enough information through testimony and in the file to make a decision. By a motion and the vote of the board, the hearing will be closed. Alternatively, we may continue the hearing to a future date and time, and after the hearing is closed, no more further testimony may be taken. The board may then further discuss the project among ourselves and make a motion to deny or approve the project. Any motion will include a summary of key findings and conditions, and an affirmative vote of 4 members is required for approval or denial of motions on any special permits, variances, and appeals. Any sort of split vote is a failure to carry and results in the project being denied. If a special permit is denied, the applicant cannot return to the board for 2 years unless the project is substantially different than what was already presented. Here tonight, we have 2 continuations at 6 o'clock. We also have 2 continuations at 6:30. We have 1 new public hearing, and we also have some items on our open meeting agenda. So we will start.
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
I recommend that you open 7-18 and continue it till after all of the continuations, as the parties are not here.
Thank you. Would someone like to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion that we continue 7-18 till after we hear 4-18.
Now, after all of the continuations, please.
Well, after all the continuations.
After all the
Thank you.
continuations. Okay, that motion was made by Jerry. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so next up is application 4-18 Messer, 190 Goleta Drive, Hatchville. And for the applicant?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to put it out. My apologies. And, Mr. Chair, would you please state who's going to be sitting on this? since
Yes,
we
Bob will
haven't
be
even-
sitting on this application.
I'm Marisha Messer, 190 Goleta Drive.
I'm Thomas Messer, 190 Goleta Drive.
We'd like to thank the board for its thoughtful consideration of our plan for a detached accessory structure. At our March 1st meeting, this board ended the meeting by asking us to continue to work on design with the planning board. For our follow-up tonight, we would like to ask clarification on one item and then present the changes that we have made. For clarification, we rented out our existing home during the summers of 2013, 14, and 15. It is our understanding in reading the bylaw that we will be restricted to renting for 6 months or more. For the purposes of clarification, does it apply to the main house as well as the accessory? The other structure would be owner occupied at all times. Following are the changes to accommodate the planning board. The driveway, we have removed, I'm going to show. We removed the second driveway and will use the existing driveway to create one driveway for both structures so as to maintain the appearance of a single-family residence with a structure that is subordinate to the primary structure. We will create parking space to the left of our existing walkway for cars for the main house. Accessory will use the current parking spaces.
So, it's a very small picture.
Is that included in the plans that you gave us, or is that new?
No, that's not on that plan is the bump out for the parking space.
Okay. Can I have that? Yes. Do you want to talk about something else? Will I
Sure.
copy that for the board? Because it's kind of tough to see it.
Yeah.
Yes. We have added cedar shingles to the accessory that mimic the existing house. The trim color on the accessory is hunter green, which mimics the existing house. The roof color will match the existing house. We've added double hung windows to match the existing house. We have removed the carport altogether. In addition, we would like the board's input for the following options. The first option would be, in addition to the changes that we've already listed, to condition the decision to prevent the removal of any trees over a given size between the accessory and the cul-de-sac. The second option would be to rotate the accessory. This would result in a decrease of face area fronting the cul-de-sac by approximately 60%, from roughly 600 square feet of frontage to approximately 200 square feet. The third option is to move the structure closer to the existing house. Once rotated and moved closer, the farthest wall on the accessory structure would be about 30 feet closer to the existing structure. And can you show that?
Again, it's a small image, and I think, did Sue give you the updated plan that you did yesterday?
So that would be this one.
When were they submitted?
Yesterday. Did you say yesterday?
It was yesterday, right?
By the way.
Huh?
Oh, that's the call.
Yeah, do that. Advance clearance, the pictures.
So, this is a Google Earth image of our lot and the adjacent lots. We went out and took photographs in 3 directions. The blue line here represents the farthest most west wall of the proposed structure. Looking toward our abutter to the west, we took a picture from the front corner and from the back corner. And these are the 2 pictures here that we got from that. This, you can hardly see it, but this is the abutter's house here and here. We also took a picture directly towards the cul-de-sac, and that is this picture here. The road is, again, it's difficult to see, but it is this line right here. So I guess what we're showing is that it's fairly hard to see through the brush.
And we have also added barn doors on the narrow end, which would be facing the cul-de-sac if the board would like us to rotate it, to create the illusion of a barn structure. This will produce the desired effect that the planning board seeks in having the appearance of a barn subordinate to the existing house.
So that is this here. Do you remember last one we said garage doors? So we saw that barn was also mentioned in the bylaw, and barn doors are much more attractive than garage doors.
So our hope is that the changes that we have made demonstrate our willingness to work with the boards and create something that is harmonious and conforms to the letter and spirit of the bylaw. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll remind the board that you can have discussion and take testimony or comments from the public, but you will have to continue this as the planning board has not finished their site plan review and design on this yet.
Question, what is driving not removal of the trees? You said you want us to condition not removing.
Well, I'm sorry, do you want to go ahead?
It just seems that that would create, if we remove more trees, that would make it more visible from both the road and from the abutters. And we want to try to minimize that as much as possible.
I don't know if we ever require removing trees in general, I guess. All right, I understand.
Yeah.
And I understand rotating of the house is to meet the exact letter of the law that, you know, even though it might inconvenience another abutter, it appears to more closely relate to Section B.
Right, and it brings it closer to the existing structure and allows the side of the house, the proposed structure that would be facing the street, to have the barn doors on it, giving it the appearance.
So that's strictly appearance, that's not for a garage or anything. That's a
No, sir.
false front.
Yes.
Lack
Right,
of a
well, we
better
would
word.
have a window or door behind those, but it's, yeah, it's
Yeah,
not. an
it's for
actual-
aesthetics.
Yes.
And our hope, since you mentioned it, is that we are not, our goal is to not inconvenience our abutters at all, and we've made that clear. We're doing the best that we can to try to keep it well buffered and as inconspicuous as it possibly can be.
Councilor Chair?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make a quick comment. With reviewing the file this week, I noticed that there seemed to be some confusion, not with you, but with some neighbors in the neighborhood. There seemed to be confusion about the accessory apartment bylaw and how your application has simultaneously gone through both the planning board and ZBA. I know you're well familiar with the process by now, given the amount of hearings that you had to attend. But just so everyone knows, tonight and watching on TV, the planning board is the site plan review through 240-195, and the ZBA is the special permit granting authority under 240-38I, so there's a few different standards involved. We do have to adhere to the design standards under 240
38I.
38I, and I think that's section 4. So we do have to keep that in mind. But planning board has jurisdiction over the site plan itself. With the three options that you gave us tonight, what would you rather see?
Well, I think that, you know, as we said, I mean, really our goal with this, we will do happily whatever the boards want us to do. We don't want any tension or difficulty with our neighbors. That, honestly, is our goal. We live on a cul-de-sac. We want to try to us, I mean, we just want a little place for us to live. And we don't want to, so, I mean, we will do whatever can be done short of not building it all together. If rotating it makes it better for our neighbors, that's fine. We moved it a little more toward the street because our backyard neighbor, who said that she supported the design, said that she would like to see it farther from her lot line. And we said, that's fine. We have no problem with that. Whatever is going to make it more comfortable for you, we'll move it as long as the boards are in agreement that what we're doing is okay. So we are totally fine with putting false barn doors on it if that makes people more comfortable. We're fine with rotating. We're fine with adding buffering between the the accessory in the street, we don't have an agenda in this other than having a place for us to live.
Has the planning board weighed in on these three options that you presented to us yet?
No.
Not officially, no,
Okay.
because the meeting was postponed.
They were scheduled for Tuesday, the storm.
The storm.
It's
Excuse
going
me.
to happen next Tuesday.
Okay. At least with the design standards in mind, under the special permit, with everything that you've presented in terms of matching the existing primary structure, I mean, I don't seem to have a problem with that. But we'll move along with board questions, and maybe we can discuss it a little further. Ed?
I don't have any questions. They've done what everybody seems to want to have done. I'm all for it.
No questions.
Bob, how about you?
Just on the plan, on the elevation one, it shows an overhang.
Here,
It doesn't seem to match up to the other elevations. Was that an error on the plan, or?
this plan is
You need the
actually-
microphone, babe.
oh, sorry. This plan is from before we had decided to rotate, or to see what it would look like rotated. We spoke with our architect this morning, actually, and he said that if you rotate it, there wouldn't be any overhang there, because that is the north elevation. Well, if we rotate it, it would be the north elevation, and that's where the barn door would be, on that end. So,
Are there any other issues that come up if you rotate it regarding
Yes.
walkout or side or
Well-
entrances, or?
it does turn out that if we rotate it, there will be other changes, I guess, that, according to the architect, in terms of, well, it wasn't very clear exactly what they would be. Do you remember?
He had thought that the sliding glass doors in the basement would go, and we said we were fine with that. It's based on the slope, so I told him that we need to at least have the proper elevations before we go to the planning board. We wanted to find out what this board was going to recommend in terms of rotating, or before we invested the money in it. But he said that, you know, the design will be the same, it's just he's going to have to accommodate for a change in the slope. And so he thought, as I said, the sliding glass door in the basement would go, and we said, that's fine.
There were just some letters in the file, just comments on parking in the cul-de-sac versus on the site. Has that been an issue in the past, or?
We never knew that to be an issue.
I mean, there's plenty of parking on site to park on site, so you'd realize you
Yes.
just park everything on site.
Yes, and we had a discussion with our neighbors this weekend about it. We had not realized that it was an issue. They hadn't brought it to our attention ever, and we've been doing it for 30 years. So we have taken steps. In the meantime, we're trying to be very conscientious about having our cars off of the circle. It doesn't, even having our cars on the cul-de-sac does not impede either fire trucks or ambulances, because we have unfortunately had experience with both at our house, and we've never had an issue with the fire truck or the ambulance getting around the circle. However, we said to them, we're absolutely going to, take care of that for you, because we want to make this work.
And in fact, the proposed plan will take care of that issue, because we'll have parking off the street for
That's-
4 cars.
That's all I have, because without the planning board issues,
I have a follow-up.
Sure.
And maybe it just wouldn't work. If you didn't rotate the house, could you make that whole front like a double barn door? So it'd be like a very large barn door?
The long side?
Yes. It's up to you. I mean, it has to look
Yeah.
like a barn.
Right.
Right.
I think
The planning board recommended that they turn
No, okay.
it
Yeah.
that way, is what my understanding is.
I think so. It was a
Yeah, I mean, I think
recommendation
this
that they
probably
had.
far
Thank you.
better.
I think we're okay with it. We
Okay.
can live with it.
I actually prefer it rotated, actually.
It doesn't, we just want a place to live.
And someone addressed the 6-month. I thought it was straight, but I wasn't. I didn't
I've
understand.
asked
Frank.
Attorney Duffy to respond to that.
Okay, I
Thank
guess,
you.
okay, we'll wait.
Yeah, we did see we understand in the bylaw it says the accessory cannot be rented out as a weekly or summer rental, and we understand that. We're wondering if that also applies to the main house.
Any other board questions?
None.
No.
Suri, anything?
I don't think so. The only thing that we can do is at this point, continue it. Do you have any negatives that you could point out to them so that they're not treading water here? Or is it all, are you okay with what they've proposed?
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay.
I think it
Assuming-
looks fantastic.
I like the
I'm
change.
assuming setbacks and all that other stuff won't be,
Yeah.
will still be okay.
Nope. Setbacks, lot coverage, everything is fine.
Yeah, I think it's,
The
And they're
only,
proposing landscaping.
the only issue I would have, which was from before, is that the lavatory that was shown on the lower level, because we have to worry in the future if something's
Right.
finished off.
Yes.
And
Should
it's
that be left
something,
as unfinished?
something that we discussed, which we have done before, is to get a deed restriction, that that basement not be finished, that the parking be contained on site, no off-site parking. So those are things typical that we have in the past asked for a deed restriction on.
Okay. Can I just ask for one clarification on that? So if you deed restrict the parking, if somebody comes over to visit, it's okay for them to park on the circle, right? Is that correct?
As long as,
We're not-
I don't know what your association is, and what we're talking about specifically are the residents of the subject property.
Have to be parked on the property, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
There is no longer any association.
Other than that, there's no Christmas parties at your house. Just kidding.
All at your house.
Just kidding. Okay,
So what are we looking at for dates for continuation?
well, I was going to suggest March 29th, but we've got a 40B that night, so the best night is going to be April 5th. I hate to delay this any longer, but there's not much we can do because of the storm delay in the planning board. So I'm looking at April 5th, if all of the members that are here tonight can attend, April 5th.
Yes, I'll be here.
With the other projects, should we try to do it earlier, or
It'll be before the other projects. Oh, you mean earlier than
earlier than
6:30?
6:30?
It's up to you guys. If you want to start it at 6.
Yeah, why not?
I don't mind that.
Yeah, let me do 6.
Paul, I see a look of
Oh, yeah,
consternation
no,
on
I'm
your
fine.
face.
I'm fine with it.
Okay. So is there, oh, sorry.
So are we accepting public comment tonight?
You can, certainly, yes. I think there's people here.
Is there
Sure.
anyone in the public that wishes to make a comment? Yes.
Good evening, my name is Bob Leary, I'm at 196 Galetta Drive, and I just want to say that nobody wants to stop this. We're in favor of this project going forward. My concern all along has just been that it follow the bylaw, because this is the first one of its kind as a new structure in the, under the accessory apartment bylaw. So questions that you ask are, is it subordinate in size to the primary dwelling? Second, does it meet the minimum square footage requirement? Is its
We've asked
location on the lot customarily incidental to a single-family home? How many people have a garage attached to their house or a garage on their property? It's not located off in some far-off corner of the site. It's located in relation to the building. That's something you need to look at. The whole notion that if nobody sees it, it should be okay, just doesn't fly. If that was the case with zoning, we would need zoning. Anybody could do anything they wanted as long as no one saw it, it would be okay. That's not the case. Is the architectural effect that of a garage or a barn? When we were looking at this, we were looking at people with existing structures that were going to be converted. So you have a barn or a garage, and you take away the garage door, you put in a nice door, a couple windows or whatever, side it, trim it the same way as the main house. Don't have to have barn doors or garage doors or anything. It's just, you can drive all through this town and you can see situations where people have converted garages into dwellings. It's just that you want it to be compatible with the main house. And when it comes to the architectural style, things that you look at, does it match the roof lines, the roof pitch, the types of windows, doors, trim, siding, roof materials, and it should look as if it belongs to the primary dwelling. And I'll give you two examples of how something isn't compatible. The Mullen Hall School, new addition onto an old building, pretty obvious. The library, new addition onto an old building, but you'd never know. If you drove past that building, you would never know that that was a new addition. And that's kind of the concept that we were looking at when we were talking about the architectural style should match the side of the same as the primary dwelling. So that's all I wanted to say.
Those are things, Bob, that you guys are going to look at before
Oh,
we do.
I know.
And we did go over the size of the dwelling, and the first few things that you mentioned, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We did go over that, but a lot of this is still dependent on, not you, I shouldn't say that because I believe you've recused yourself. It's based on the planning board's determination. So once we get that, then
Yeah.
we'll be able to look more at the
Yeah.
architectural design that you've approved,
Yeah,
or
and
your
it kind
board.
of, it works hand in hand with both boards.
Right.
So I just wanted to say
I
that.
think it's an improvement over what it was, most definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other members of the public wish
No.
to comment on this project?
Excuse me, one
Yes.
second. Bob, can you make the statement that you were speaking as a neighbor and not planning board?
Sure.
Please, I appreciate that, if you want to.
In the mode of transparency, yes, I am in a butter. I have recused myself as a planning board voter on this project.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. You are learning.
Yes, ma'am?
I'm Holly Wilson, and I'm the chair of the Affordable Housing Committee. And I just want to give credit to the first people coming through to do a new dwelling on the property. It's very hard to be the first to break through, and there were several wrinkles in this bylaw that are being straightened out. There's a very concerted effort to do that, and the Affordable Housing Committee wants to thank all of the volunteers on committees, whether elected or appointed by the Board of Selectmen, because changing a zoning bylaw like this took 3 years now. Talked about it for years before that, and there's still working groups working on it. So I hope everyone will have patience, because this is a very good thing that the town has done, and thank you to the Messers for bearing up with everything that's going on. The intent was not to make it so difficult. So,
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, and as Sri already stated,
April 5th, please, at 6
April
PM.
5th, and this is pending the outcome of the planning board's site plan review.
I believe they'll be done by then.
Okay. We need a motion to continue this to April 5th, and I think we agreed on 6 o'clock if everyone's available.
I'll make a motion to continue
I'll second it.
04, number 18, to 6 o'clock on April 5th.
Okay, motion was made by Ed and second by Jerry. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay, so that brings us up to,
The continuations for climate and Helmut, please.
yes.
Excuse me, Brian, we continued you till after the continuations, okay? So you'll be up in a few minutes. We start at
have the
6.
6:30 continuations, application 86-17, the Climate Foundation, 3 Little Harbor Road in Woods Hole. I believe, looking at my notes.
There's a letter on the top of in the file from our Assistant Town Council, who, her and Attorney Wall agreed to a continuation.
Is there a date certain or just?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I just don't remember, it's in the
It says
file.
Brian Wall, and I would like to reschedule the Climate Foundation hearing from March 15th to May 3rd. Continuous to May 3rd at 6:30.
Okay, and looking at the schedule, I think 6:30 looks fine. Would anyone like to make that motion?
I'll make the motion to continue
May
I'll-
3rd.
8617 to May 3rd at 6:30. 6:30.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion was made by Ed and second by Paul. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're through with the 6:30 continuations, and now we go back to application 7-18.
No, excuse me.
I'm sorry.
We've got one more.
Helmus Circle, please.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. It's a little bit confusing
is.
agenda tonight.
Is that continued?
Application 90-17, Helmus Circle LLC. And I believe we have another request for a
A
continuation.
request to April 19th at 6:30.
Okay, would anyone like to make that motion to continue to April 19th at 6:30 here at Town Hall?
I'd like to make a motion to continue hearing 90-17 until April 19th at 6:30 here at Town Hall.
Okay, motion was made by Paul. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just want to note that I will not be available on that day, but I don't think I was critical anyways.
That's all right. We still have so he's not a voting member on this because there was no testimony tonight.
Okay, and now we're going back to 7-18, Mills, 69 Montauk Street, and T-Ticket.
Good evening, everyone. Brian Bork, again, representation of Sharon Mills. I believe, does everybody have an opportunity to look at the plans that were revised for the height?
I believe we have, if you could just summarize the changes.
Well, a few changes. We looked at a couple things as we discussed that night. We reduced the roof pitch, but also lowered, originally the foundation was out of the ground like 4 feet. We brought that deeper into the ground, which did a couple things. It actually got us down to 31.5, I believe, which was less than what was requested. And it also slightly reduces the lot coverage. Not that that was a factor, because there's one less step in the front and rear decks.
Okay. I guess we'll turn it over to board questions.
I'd like to, I didn't have a chance to come in to see the revised
Oh,
plan.
I'm sorry.
Just,
Mills? Yeah.
I'll pass and let others in if you did what we said.
Yeah, we got better, more than what was requested.
Bob, do you want to start us off with questions?
Do you have a plan?
The plans need to be passed out. Here, Bob, take mine. There's basically no changes except for the decrease in one step at the rear, I believe it is. And the height is down to 31.5 as the board requested.
They changed the pitch, I think, didn't they?
Yes.
10, 12, what was it before?
It was a 12 originally.
No, it's 10.
Yeah, I see it here, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And this shows 31.4 inches. 31.5 inches.
31.
The board requested that it be no higher than 31.5.
Oh, okay.
So we just went slightly under, as it worked.
Yeah, 31.4 in the drawing.
No questions.
Paul, any questions?
No questions.
No questions?
Can you get it down a little lower? Oh, sorry.
And Jerry, you all set?
I'm all set, not just.
Sari, did you have anything?
No,
No? Okay.
I was joking when I said, can you get it a little lower?
Sorry, didn't hear you. Okay. And what was the original proposed height?
The original proposed height was right at the cusp.
34.8, I believe
Yeah,
that's
it was like 34, but it was originally right up there.
Yeah, it was a
34.8
steep
or
slope.
9, I believe.
Yes, and it was higher out of the ground too, so it's a significant reduction as far as, from 34 to 31, excuse me.
And there is a basement proposed, and I believe that the top where the roof is, that was proposed as attic space for storage?
There is a basement proposed, yes, and there is limited storage attic space above.
And it is for storage only, correct?
Oh, yes, yeah.
And as well as for the basement, no finished space.
And I'm sure it'll be fine if we condition it that way, if we were to vote in favor?
I'm aware of no objections. Obviously, the attic space is construction-wise, is for limited storage only. The basement, obviously, I couldn't speak to the person's future intentions, but to my knowledge, there is no intention of it. It's not in the
Normally,
flood
what the
zone.
board, what we ask the board to do is condition absolutely no bedrooms in the basement,
Right.
and you hold them to the bedroom count, because that's what
Which
they
is
do, and
two,
the attic
right.
is storage only.
It's
So
two
a lot of
bedrooms,
people
right?
make rec rooms or whatever downstairs.
But it's 2 bedrooms right now. And it's staying at 2 bedrooms.
It's staying at two-bedroom, that's what they proposed it at.
Yeah.
Okay, if the board's all set with
It's
questions.
two bedrooms, correct?
It is
Yeah,
two.
yeah.
Any members of the public wish to make any comment, questions, concerns regarding this project? Okay, seeing none, well, how would the board like to proceed?
I'd like to make a motion to approve, to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
Motion to close the hearing by Paul, second by Jerry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Just a couple of quick comments about this project. It was a small lot, and I know the previous testimony from the other night that the applicant really worked hard with their professionals, the architect and everyone, to try to get a new structure in there that fit the lot and the neighborhood. And I think with the reduction in height that we requested, I think it's more harmonious with the neighborhood than the first proposed structure was. It is in a neighborhood with some cottages, 1.5 stories, but there are, again, there are other newer structures around that are higher than that, and I think that fits along with the newer structures. Anyone else want to jump in, or?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, it looks much nicer, not as imposing, and, yeah, I think it's right in line with what we asked for.
It's a huge improvement to the lot.
Yes.
And hopefully they'll be able to save that gorgeous tree in the backyard.
That's the intention. Again, that was another designing conflict, was trying to stay far enough away from that root base to not damage the tree.
And what did we determine on the shed?
Shed is being removed, not being
Removed because of the
rebuilt.
basement. Great, thank you.
Okay. And how would the board, like, if we're all set with comments, how would the board like to proceed on this project?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the project.
I'll second.
Okay, it's Paul and Ed. Can move along to findings and conditions, if you want to start us off, Paul.
Findings, the applicant reduced the height such that it made a nice improvement to the design.
Okay.
It's not more detrimental to it has adequate wastewater disposal.
That goes along with 242.
You mean it's hooked to the town sewer?
216.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you.
is, yeah. I think that's still considered adequate.
I think it enhances the utilization of the property for the property owner. They have existing 2 beds, they will remain at 2 beds. The shed will be removed
And not replaced?
Not
and not replaced.
No opposition submitted to the file?
No opposition.
To be no bedrooms in the basement? Or we
That's
make
a
that
condition.
We'll get along.
That's a
The
condition.
conditions. The side setback, I think it was it 9.6, and it's remaining at 9.6?
Somebody has my plans, I don't know.
I don't have the exact number with me, but all the side setbacks were reduced.
They'll be remaining.
Well, they're all reduced, every setback.
Oh,
was-
reduced,
Was
okay.
reduced,
Yeah.
yes, every one.
I know there was an improvement in the
Per plan,
setbacks.
right?
Per plan, correct, yep. It shows reduction in all.
8.9 was existing, and 9.6 is proposed.
Right.
Okay, so they'll be eliminated.
They reduced the height as we asked, as requested.
Or it's being improved to 9.6, so it's
Yeah.
less detrimental,
Less
is what it is.
Yeah. It's a 3,200 square foot lot.
Yeah, I'll make a comment on the finding, because it is for them to do what they did on such a small lot
Oh, yeah.
and not increase the number of bedrooms. Okay, conditions?
Oh, for findings, you want to, that testimony had it that the attic was going to be unfinished space, and the basement as well?
It would not be a bedroom.
They can do the basement.
It could be an attic.
He stated that he believes that was the intent, so
Okay.
I think what we can do is definitely say, he stated that the attic was
Right.
intended for storage. I think the roof height in there would not allow it to be habitable space, the ceiling height.
It's so narrow, even with the 10 pitch, as you go in,
Yeah.
you're not getting adequate headroom in there.
Right,
So we'll just leave it at attic,
right.
testimony attic storage due to roof pitch.
Okay. We'll move on to conditions if you're ready, Suri.
Pardon me?
We'll move on to conditions if...
Yes,
If
please.
you're ready.
Build it like the drawings.
Yep, per plan. No shed, remain at 2 bedrooms.
Well, no, because it's one.
They're on town sewer. I
Right.
think you should just condition that absolutely no bedrooms in the basement.
No bedrooms in the
And
basement. Okay, that was
the
gonna be my
attic.
next one.
Yeah, that's what we've done in the past, but, and it's per plan, which is 2 bedrooms.
Any other conditions or any findings we might have missed? Suri, anything else?
I believe the board should do an as-built, just because, to verify the height,
Right.
setbacks.
It is such a small lot, and they did a great job with the proposed structure, but I think as-built would be appropriate. How does everyone else feel about that?
No, I agree.
Sure.
Sure.
And that's post-construction, after appurtenances, the deck and everything.
Correct. Deck steps.
Okay, if we're all set to vote on this, the motion to approve was made by Paul and second by Ed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much for your time. You guys have a great evening.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Huh? As-built means post-construction after everything's done, so we can verify the height. Building department asks for an as-built on foundations.
Okay, moving right along, we have a new hearing. It is application 8-18, McGordy, 16 Cypress Road, in T-Ticket. Special permit to construct dormers and sunroof over existing deck area.
Being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11, Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that Paul Joseph and Lauren Ann McGordy applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit in Section 243C of the Code of Falmouth to remove existing deck and replace it with a sunroom and construct front and rear dormer for additional habitable space in the pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling on subject property known as 16 Cypress Street, T-Ticket, Mass.
Oh, referrals, just gotta read referrals, sorry.
No comments on all the referrals, no comments.
We have a few sets of plans that we can pass out.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You ready for the McGordy's to go through?
Okay, and the applicants.
Hi, I'm Lauren McGurdy. This is my husband, Paul McGurdy. And we have we've owned the property at 16 Cypress Street for 28 years and have mostly used it as a summer home. And now that we are nearing retirement, we would like to retire there, but we would also like some more living space. Hence the reason for the additional sunroom. And then upstairs, it's just one really big bedroom, one small bedroom, but both with slanting roofs, and it's just could be made better.
Okay.
Did you bring a set of plans with you so you can?
Yep.
Okay, good. In case they ask questions, you can refer to your plans.
Okay.
Anything else, or would you like us to turn it to
It's the
board
first time
questions?
we've done anything like this, so I'm not really sure what you're looking for.
Not a problem.
They'll ask you questions.
Okay.
So if you're ready, we can turn it to board questions.
We're ready for questions.
Sure. Jerry, do you want to start us off?
No.
Okay. Bob, hate to go yet every time, but would you
No,
like to
I,
start us?
It was just on the roof
We
structure plan, but I
removed,
think it was removed.
A6. It was
error.
confusion, so it was an error, yeah.
Okay.
Well, mine didn't get removed, but I believe yours did. There was a bathroom on A6 that we spoke with Brian about, and he contacted the architect, and there is no bathroom the way that it's laid out when you're looking at the roof plan. So hopefully A6 has been removed from your
Yep.
plans? Thank you.
And there's no, was there a, was the,
So-
was there an A5?
No. So what you see for floor plans, if you refer to your plans as A3, if you could just verify for the board that that first floor plan and second floor plan is what you are proposing,
Yes.
because there was some confusion as to the rearrangement on the second floor.
Yes, so the second floor is 4 bedrooms now and a bathroom.
Right. And the bathroom's kind of across from the stairway.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's why we removed A6, okay?
And the den in the dining room downstairs, and it's just open.
Yeah, just
It's gonna be
open.
well open.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, Paul?
No questions.
Ed, any questions?
Excuse me, no, I don't have any questions.
Okay.
I can appreciate the need for the, trying to get more space.
Yeah, it's a small house, so we love
Jerry, any questions?
You lucky enough to be in the sewer service area? or do
Oh,
you-
yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah.
we're getting
Okay.
tied- I think we're getting tied in next week or the week after.
Okay.
The plan's been submitted already.
No other question.
Okay. So you're at 4 bedrooms now, and you'll be remaining
Yes.
at 4?
Keep-
You're
keeping
just
the same.
rearranging, you're putting the beds
it.
upstairs?
3 bedrooms up and doing a dining room and a den on first floor.
Fantastic. And your side setback is at 7.5 to your neighbors at,
The
I
side
think that's
was at
number
7.5,
14?
we're gonna make it till 10, so it'll be 10 feet in the side where it was non-conforming before.
Great. And it looks like on the plan here, with your front setback, you're at 26, but it looks like you have even a few extra feet to where Cypress Street's actually laid out. Great. And it looks like that deck is a little encroaching from your neighbors on 14.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
actually encroaching on us.
He's a relative.
That is not a 26-foot setback. It wasn't taken from the steps, so the house is tilted slightly. And those steps, there's 3. There's a landing and 2 steps down to grade.
Right.
So that setback should be from that front. So
The
that
front step.
front setback might be conforming, and until Rod gives me his opinion, I would say that that front yard is non-conforming as well.
Okay. And in the event that it is non-conforming, it'll be remaining.
Yeah, it's just pre-existing non-conforming. It doesn't have any effect on
Mhm.
what's being done.
And the entire project, it's just being done within pretty much the existing footprint with the exception that you noted it'll be improved onto the side setback. Okay. All right. Any other board questions?
No?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll turn it to questions in the public, but I don't think anyone might have any. Does anyone have any questions, concerns, comments about this project? Okay, seeing none, you're welcome. What would the board like to do?
Motion to close?
Second?
Motion to close by Jerry, second by Paul. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve?
Okay, now motion to approve by Jerry,
Second?
and that will be second by Paul. Moving on to findings and conditions.
I think it's an improvement to the lot that has adequate wastewater disposal.
Mhm.
Oh, it's tied into the sewer system. And there's, I can't find my cheat sheet of all those things.
No new nonconformities are being created.
It definitely enhances the utilization of the house for the applicant.
Oh, yeah.
It's on town sewer.
Consistent with the character, I think it's.
Improve the setback in the deck,
Mhm.
10.1 feet. The front setback is less than the 26 shown in the drawing.
Mhm.
It's less the steps.
They're existing 4 beds, and they will be remaining at 4.
Lot coverage is essentially equal. It's reduced by 26.4 to 26.2%.
They will be having that slight reduction in lot coverage.
And
Excuse me,
also
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
May I ask the applicant a question?
of course you can.
Also,
Is your basement finished? So it's unfinished? Thank you.
and then the pervious area is a slight reduction also, 26.4 to 26.2.
Okay. Any other findings?
No bedrooms in the basement.
That's not a finding.
It's not a
Finding is the
Finding is
basement's
the basement's
unfinished.
unfinished.
Condition would be no bedrooms.
Okay. But
Okay.
they could finish it, right? Well, no, you hate to time something in if they want to finish it in 2 years. Avoid legal fees.
So conditions, are we there?
I think we are. Per plan, no beds in the basement. And I'm not sure of any other condition.
4 bedrooms.
4
4
beds.
bedrooms.
And this, since they're reducing the lot coverage and improving the setbacks, you don't need to do a,
Well, you can do it. Do you want an as-built? That's what I should say. Do you think it's necessary?
I don't think it's.
Reduction,
I don't
so-
think it's
I don't think so.
necessary
Good.
there.
all right,
Yeah.
we are set.
Okay. Motion to approve was made by Jerry and second by Paul. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on to our open meeting agenda items. First up, we have the minutes from March 1st, 2018.
Can you pass those down, please? And whoever signs those, if you're going to tonight, please, TJ, why don't you sign them, because I believe it's Kimberly.
It is Kimberly's name here. Mhm.
You can sign for Kimberly, can't you?
I can sign in my own capacity. Okay, has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and everyone's happy with them?
Yeah.
Would anyone like to make the motion to approve the minutes as drafted?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as drafted
Second?
Okay, that was made by Ed.
for March 1st.
March 1st, thank you, Ed. Motion was made by Ed and second by Paul, I believe. All those in favor?
Aye.
Good night, thank you.
Okay, we're all set there. Number 2, board review and discussion on draft decision for 121-17 Kelly, and this was the special permit for commercial accommodations, the bed and breakfast.
So this is going to be 4 members only because Mr. Murphy missed the first hearing and Ms. Veland is absent. I sent you the drafts. Do you all have them
Yep.
I think I reviewed it online.
in your mind?
Online, I might. Either way, it's about the same.
So I haven't heard, I did make some changes, and since the revised went out, I haven't heard anything. Attorney Moynihan has reviewed it and has no issues with it as drafted.
Were they administrative, not administrative? what were
You've
the
seen
changes?
them.
Yep. it's all
I know I've
there.
seen them, but I didn't see anything that jumped out. I didn't even know. what
No,
the
I
change-
added a condition on parking to make sure it is maintained on-site
That's what we discussed.
for the guests and the tenants only.
Yes,
And I also put in a condition that the signage be reviewed per the bylaw,
okay.
which they've agreed to, or it was their idea to put it on the house, so there's a
That's right.
certain size.
Right.
So I wanted to incorporate that. So how do you find my draft?
Fantastic.
Excellent.
I
Outstanding.
think it's good.
Right answer, let's go.
Right.
All right, so just a reminder that there are only 4 of us. It's myself, Ed, Jerry, and Bob on this, so it would have to be a unanimous vote.
Can we approve this even though it says review and discuss? Doesn't say approve?
You have to review and discuss it before you can
No, no.
approve it.
Okay.
I
So
reviewed
that's
it.
what I'm saying, did
We
you
reviewed?
review it?
Yes, I
Yes,
reviewed
and
it.
we've discussed it.
We're
So we
happy with
can
it.
approve it in
Yes.
accordance with this agenda.
It had to be approved tonight, well, it didn't have to be, but I told you at the last hearing, I'd have the draft ready for you
Right.
for your
Yep.
review and approval.
Okay.
Okay, so with the 4 of us, we've reviewed it, discussed it, if everyone's happy with it.
I am.
and-
I am. You want to take a roll call?
Well, we can, someone can just make the motion, and someone can second it to.
I'll make a
approve.
motion.
To approve as drafted.
As
Second.
drafted.
Second.
Okay, that was made by Jerry to approve as drafted, second by Ed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, unanimous.
So a 4-0 makes it approvable. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the job.
Mr. Kelly? This is your draft. I'll send you an original after it gets filed with the town clerk.
Thank you. Okay, up next, we have procedural rules and policies.
No, we don't.
No, we don't, okay.
You have 661 Main Street review
Oh, I'm sorry.
of the landscape plan that is in front of Mr. Van Kuren.
We do.
And what's 661 Main Street again?
Bogosian, where the brewery is, and the 7 apartments
Oh,
upstairs.
Oh, yeah.
You guys conditioned the landscape plan,
Yes.
and I did, may I have a copy, please?
These are dated January.
No, honey, they're right here.
Oh,
I spoke with Attorney Flower, because the board had suggested that there be landscaping of some sort on that, kind of the midpoint here where you turn to go into the lot. And they added a split rail fence right there. Some of you had come in and seen the old one, so I wanted to point out that they did add a split rail fence right there. Can you see where I'm talking
Oh,
about?
yes. I do now.
I think the only concern that one member had is that, is it enough landscaping along the driveway to prohibit driving? He was going to, the board asked for no parking sign, I thought. Am I incorrect on that?
Is it possible to keep any of the rocks or something that?
Well, he's got what's proposed. You see the guy wire there? That is already there. Mr. Clower is, Attorney Clower, excuse me, is here. If you need to discuss it, there is the There was gonna be.
I have a question on the
There's a
signage.
sign, so the signage is right here.
So is that the proposed verbiage of the signage?
Private way, vehicular access easement for abutting residents only.
Okay, because it's only 2 residents, correct?
It's 3.
Not all the
It's
abutters?
3 residents, is it not?
I think so. I don't remember exactly what that
I mean, it isn't possible to put what the actual,
No.
because everyone else is abutting.
We don't know how many people use it, no testimony was given. What was asked by the board is just that it be marked as a private way so people don't use it to enter this property. We didn't ask for specific things, and we didn't discuss how many people live on that road.
Well,
So-
I had only brought up because I made the comment that it should mention the usage for the actual easement properties only. Because he mentioned that there were 2. Also,
I think there's
also the placement of the sign there, would you,
It's gonna
if you're driving out, shouldn't it be over here? Will you even see it
You're
sideways?
coming in. The sign is meant for those coming
But the
in.
sign is facing this direction.
I'm sure they can change it.
Yeah, that's what just,
The sign will face the correct direction.
No one's going to read it anyway.
It's up to the board. I mean, when you conditioned this signage, you didn't say a specific amount. I don't want to get into any testimony right now because the hearing's closed and the decision's been made. What was conditioned is that he submit signage and a landscape plan showing the signage. I did hear, like I said, from somebody on the landscaping here, they're questioning if that's enough. So,
I think it's
If you
adequate
agree
given the
with it.
site, but, you know,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's,
it's a tight
I
site.
mean, it's a professional landscape plan.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better than that.
I don't know why, was there not a sign supposed to be there that says no parking? No.
Sri, I don't see anything in the decision that refers to a no parking sign, which is why I don't think we noted it on the plan.
we just noted that there would be no parking.
I
Yeah,
just-
that's what I'm saying, that's what the landscaping was for, so they wouldn't
Exactly.
prohibit
Right.
parking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's a pretty busy site as it is, so we don't want to overclutter it any more than we have to.
It's a pretty tight site.
And the proposed landscape it's a raised landscape bed set 6 feet apart from the existing pole. Grass is on mulch.
So that prohibits a car right there
I
too,
think that would be enough.
except for that
Given
one
car
small
length,
car
so
that's in town.
20 feet.
two vehicles.
The little car.
And the proposed split rail fence.
Back.
We thought that strip there was too narrow to support any real landscaping vegetation, so we thought the split rail fence was a better way of addressing it.
Yeah, and it's for sight distance too, so that was.
And exactly,
good,
because
yeah.
anything that would grow to a height that would want it to grow to would prohibit views around the corner coming from the easterly side, so.
It's going to look a lot nicer than what's currently
Sure.
existing.
The big metal building.
And I think everything else on this plan incorporates everything that was in the decision, so I don't have a problem with it.
No problem.
Anyone else?
No.
Are you okay with the sign that Bob is suggesting might have,
I don't know what else you could do.
I don't think
just
we
didn't
should
want the
put a
confusion of-
number.
I just,
I think we trust the, builder.
No one's going to read it anyway.
well, the key thing is to stop people from using
Passing through, yeah.
that to get to this
Yeah, no,
property.
I realize that, I'm only being funny.
I mean, is there better verbiage or like
Yeah, I sort of think,
Not
people
use
do
of
what they
this
want to
building, or-
in general.
keep out?
I think the sign's fine as it's proposed on the plan.
I mean, they could revise it later if they want, right? The exact verbiage.
no.
Oh, come on, they couldn't.
LED sign, maybe?
Okay, everybody's
Look
getting
at the
tired.
neon
That's
lights.
good.
We're getting
Let's leave it
tired.
alone.
We didn't ask for a snow removal plan.
All right, so if everyone's happy with this, we can make.
Do we
a mo-
approve it?
You need to approve it.
We will need to. Anyone like to make that motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the plan.
Second.
That was the landscape architect plan that was submitted for 661 Main Street,
He was here for the whole
09117.
thing.
Received on the 7th of March.
I'll second that.
And this is
All right.
administrative, so yes, you can.
Motion was made by Jerry and Paul. Did I hear a second from you?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You as well, thank you.
Okay. I've been ahead of myself all night, Suri. Now we have procedural rules and policies. And I think we can table that, or would you like to make any comment, Suri?
No, I mean, I've only heard from one member so far in any type of revisions.
All right.
I don't know if we're going to be able to have time to do those at the workshop, so we'll have to see, but please don't,
But in
if
the
you
event
think of
that-
anything, please send it to me anyway.
I mean, I would think at the workshop, there could be minor revisions, even if, you know, we're not going into wholesale
Right.
wording changes. So everything's within the confines of the intent.
So in the event that we are able to get to procedural rules and policies during the workshop coming up on the 24th, please send those to Suri. Okay. Board discussion update, our workshop on March 24th with the agenda.
You just did.
We just did it.
I've received questions from 3 board members, what they would like, specific questions. So anybody else, please forward those to me as well,
Okay.
because I'm forwarding them directly to the attorney.
Oh, I had a question. How many pizzas do we need for lunch?
Where are you going to get
Breakfast.
pizza Saturday morning?
I'm gonna have it delivered.
I bet somebody you would have it delivered.
I'm not gonna make it.
No, well, we were thinking you were going to buy it the night before.
No, I just didn't know whether to order 2 or, you know, we haven't seen who's bringing what.
Well, we have some of them. I think we're only lacking Paul and Ken.
I just wanna know what
Bob.
food's being brought, you know. Do we need
I'm
2
gonna get
for-
the sandwiches like we had last year.
Instead of the pizza?
No, he's getting sandwiches,
No, it's,
like he did last year.
they're handmade by Windfall Market.
Oh.
They're
So
very good.
1 large pizza should be enough, you know, I don't, 2.
We'll have enough food.
I think
2?
I think one might be good.
I think one's enough.
Well, I don't know,
With everything.
because we're going to start at 8:30, and some of that is breakfast food, so maybe by lunchtime, I would get 2. You can always take it home, Jerry.
I can always call it, you know, I'm gonna call in about 10 o'clock anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it?
Okay. Future agenda items? I don't have any. And I think we're done.